police. Now let's talk a little bit more about Google, its tax arrangements. We've been reporting all day that influential committee of MPs which has accused Google of highly contrived tax arrangements. That's the phrase the committee used. It said these arrangements serve no purpose other than to avoid paying its fair share. In the 5 years to 2011, Google generated revenue of £11.5 billion, but it paid just £10 million in corporation tax in that period. What do these accusations mean for the reputation of a company the size of Google? What does it do to public perception? Let's discuss that with the brand consultant Rita Clifton, who is with me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I mean, very, very strong words used about Google this afternoon. It's an influential committee of MPs. Not dissimilar things have been said about other large companies that we've all talked about. Does it make a blind bit of difference to what the public thinks?
Do you know, in the short and medium term, this is not going to make a huge difference. I mean, people find Google convenient, it really works. It's not going to impact their short-term behaviour. People tend to be radical at the research questionnaire and reactionary at the checkout. There's a lot of huffing and puffing about the image and bad behaviour and so on of companies, but actually, if it's convenient to use, then it's quite difficult to shift people's behaviour. Now, the long and medium term, that's a different matter on the impact on the brand overall.
Long and medium term because, what, in theory, another search engine could come along, and if Google's reputation was really low at that point, people might turn to that other option.
Yes, that's certainly a possibility, but also the other possibility is Google's reputation amongst opinion formers and stakeholders more broadly. It does not look great that these businesses that are, large, quite cool global brands are, put up to look like naughty schoolboys in front of the headmistress. These businesses need license to operate, they need freedom to operate, and frankly, if they're not seen to be behaving well, this is not good news in terms of their freedom to do business.
Right, so it could matter at that sort of section of society, because I felt myself almost laughing as we suggest that another search engine might come along. It's hard to imagine a time where Google's dominance could be challenged. Now, that is in distinction with, for example, Starbucks, which has been so criticised. We could all go elsewhere and buy coffee. What does the research tell us about whether anyone did in light of Starbucks criticism?
Well, it didn't really impact people's behaviour as far as Starbucks was concerned either. So we do have to be careful about these impacts. I think the other thing, though, we do need to say is that this is quite challenging for the UK as a brand. We're not looking great in terms of a friendly brand to business. It might be a popular vote winner to give big business a good kicking. But if we don't have successful businesses coming to this country and operating in this country, we're not going to have the money to pay for civil society and so on, and we should be very careful that these businesses, they're not doing anything illegal. And they're paying taxes in other ways, national insurance, business rates and so on. So they're not doing anything illegal, but they do have to be very careful to be seen to be doing the right thing and also projecting the kind of image that has built the brand strongly long term. And that is not being spanked in front of the great British public.
So it's quite a fine line then, isn't it? So what would you advise Google to do right now? You've got that balance between, you're in actually, let's face it, at the moment a very strong position, but you don't want to push your luck.
No, absolutely not. And I think that they're doing the right thing on two grounds. Number one is they have had their global CEO talk about how they are doing the right thing. In terms of tax regulation and so on, they're not behaving in a way that is illegal. They will do whatever governments ask them to do. But they also have a responsibility to shareholders to make sure that they're not paying too much tax. That's also pressure on any business and any person running a business as well. So I think that they should carry on doing what they're doing, but also they do need to make sure they're giving generously and directly to good causes and being seen to be a very responsible business. You've got to play those both parallel tracks if you're going to make sure you're building and rebuilding a reputation for the future.
That's very interesting. We may yet discuss this again. Thanks for now, Rita Clifton. Thank you.
Thank you.